Okay, cool. So I can at least record. I had to totally record um, via YouTube because it won't let me do great. Okay. And why does it say three people is in here, but I only see you? Um, oh, one is my presentation. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give everyone like another 5 minutes and I'm totally just going to start and just be respectful of time. No. And what is this? First off, I just love cute little people voices. I'm just saying, totally love little tiny people voices. Oh, you know what? Where is my? Hold on. Let me go find my phone in case somebody is trying to message me. Hey, Yehudi. Hold on. I'm about to go get my cell phone. I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, not smart. Not smart. Where is the heck did I do with my phone? Oh, there it is. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I am recording this on. I went live on YouTube so I could record because I couldn't figure out how to do it in Google Meet. So I'll just have to attach the presentation when I post it. Cool. So thanks, ladies, for coming. I'm so excited. So excited. This is just really good timing because I have been having a week. OMG. Hi, baby Ken. Hi. Hi. OMG. So I've been having like a really rough week. And so this is really good timing since we're like gonna kick off talking about self-love and healing because right about now I'm in need of that. Yeah. So let us and you can you see my presentation? You cannot. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So just general housekeeping. Make sure lines are muted when you're not speaking. For all these and future events, you do not have to be gussied up. Do not have to feel like you need to be dressed any kind of way. Definitely be open and respectful of everybody's different opinions. Remember that your journey is yours. You don't have to do anything that does not align with your spirit. Make sure you're supporting each other and just be accountable for your healing. And we're going to be a nice little community of love. So if you need something, if you just need to reach out, if you just need support, you have questions, that's what we're all here for. So, what are we planting today? So, this is just kind of like our little agenda and why we're gathered here, just some tools you'll be using to further your journey, a quick introduction of myself and my story, let you introduce yourselves, whatever you feel comfortable with, name, location, what you're hoping to heal, some goals for us. So that's going to be something we come up with collectively as a group, and then a plan for our next gathering. Any questions right now? No, no, feel good. Awesome. Okay, so why are we gathered here today? So the short and sweet is for healing and reclaiming our divinity. So before I can before I was aware that I was on a spiritual journey, I was reclaiming my yoni, my womb, my pussy. Like I was reclaiming the love for that part of my body because I didn't have it. So I had already started just some personal healing with taking better care of myself. Um, and then also just awareness that I needed some emotional support and taking care of that. Um, Learning to love myself. So that's what we're here for, is to remember that we are all a piece of the Most High. Like just from a scientific perspective, anything else, just from a scientific perspective, energy cannot be created or destroyed. So the energy of the Most High is within every single fabric of our being, including us. And the moment we realize that, so wait, I'm a piece of the source, there's something powerful in that acknowledgement. And that's the part I want us to reclaim, is that we are powerful just in this sheer, just as women, the idea that we can create life, that life springs forth from us. One of my, I'm going to share the link to the playlist, but I listened to Affirmations for a Grown Ass Woman, and there's a line in her song, Yoni, that says, I am part of the community that gives souls and spirits bodies. What, sis? What did she say? Like when she said it, I was like, yo. She said, even if I cannot, have not created a human life, I still carry the power to bring life to any project, initiative, innovation. And I'm like, yes, come on. All right. Okay. I see you. I see you. And that was powerful for me for a couple of reasons that I'll share when I share my story. But that's why we're here together. So these are some of our tools. So we have Sacred Woman, we have Pussy Prayers, and we have Please. I just got Please. I'm like almost done. I'm like 3/4 of the way through Please already. And I'm just like, okay. All right. So I decided, especially since Black Girl Bliss did both Pussy Prayers and Please, that I wanted to include it with our journey. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this, that if you do not have Sacred Woman or Pussy Prayers in it, would like it, but you can't buy it right now, message me. I got you. I may not have a nice little book for you, but just all I can say right this minute is I got you. I got you. All you got to do is shoot me a message. I'm going to shoot you something in your inbox and you'll be good to go. You told me good to go. If you got a printer, if you just want to highlight on your computer, trust and believe you'll be fine. But like Sacred Woman really is like almost like a textbook. I'm just going to be really honest. If you have never read it or read anything through it, it really is. It's a lot. It is a lot to digest, especially by yourself. And one thing that I hope that I can bring is my ability to kind of read something that's like here and bring it back down here. I feel like Pussy Prayers really is kind of like the jump start before Sacred Woman. I feel like there's some elements of Pussy Prayers that I feel like women should go through first before they take a dive into the Sacred Woman journey. Or at the very least, they should be working in tandem with each other. Please is just self love. So a lot of the nuances of things in Please are going to be echoed in both of them, and we're just going to lump them together. So those are some of the tools, and we may do some other stuff, but those are like the primary things we'll be using together. So before I get into introducing myself, any questions on like the books or anything? No? Okay, awesome. So allow me to introduce myself, and I'm going to explain why I chose this particular picture. So if you haven't, I know Adrian, you're not a member of the Patreon, but I did a video on starting my spiritual journey, and it's a part of me acknowledging who I am holistically, whether that's me, nice and professional and all smiles, or if it's a little bit ratchet, or if I'm a little dark and mysterious, or if I'm just a god stern goddess. All of those things are aspects of me. And what's funny is the middle picture specifically, I've looked at a couple of times recently because in part of my journey, I was like, Okay, so I connected strongly to one particular Orisha who is Yamaya. And she shows up as a mermaid. And I felt like it was just like, and this was well before, well after I made this photo. I made this photo during Halloween. I wasn't even thinking about a spiritual journey or nothing like that. I was just playing with an app. I said, "Ooh, look, I can edit my picture," and that's what I chose. And so it it jumps out at me now, especially since I got a reading done where they think that's the Orisha that's aligned to me. So I was like, yo, this is okay. But the womb healing and yoni healing, and I decided to say it's not about womb healing because not even all biological women have a womb. If you've had a hysterectomy or anything like that, you don't have a uterus. Your uterus is your womb. That doesn't mean there is not some healing in that area that can be done. Um, and that's not the only thing that makes us a woman. Innately being born woman automatically, regardless of how we function, makes us woman. And that's the thing I had to come full circle with because I was diagnosed with PCOS at really young age. Like I know women, a lot of women that didn't find out until they're like in their 30s. And at 20, I knew that I had it. I had a period. I always had horrible periods. My cycle showed up when I was 9. So, right, right. My period showed up when I was 9. These showed up like around 7. And so there was so much of my definition of being a woman that was lumped into, oh, well, you have to keep these hidden because somebody's going to look at you. And you have to, and like, okay, well, you're going to bleed once a month. And I will say I'm very blessed that I learned about my period well before I had one. But, this blood's going to come out of you. And this is what I learned. This is what my introduction into being a woman was. And then I first have a period and it's painful. What I remember is being in the nurse's office from 5th grade forward once a month for a couple of days. I never had perfect attendance because I could not go to school during my period. I remember finals my senior year almost missing them because I'm in bed in the fetal position sobbing because I'm in so much pain. And so then to turn 20, and then I have a period that lasted 6 months. This is not an exaggeration. My ex girlfriend will vouch for the fact that when I met her, I was on my period. This was February, and it didn't go off until like late June, almost July. And it was heavy the entire time, like the whole time. I'm like in overnight, whole time, heavy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And so everybody's like, well, doctors are like, you got to take birth control pills, blah, blah, blah. And that, it was a band aid. It didn't tell me what was wrong with me. So I finally Googled and I was like, okay, I think I have this. And I had to go to a different doctor to get the diagnosis. So they did the search, and he's like, his reaction, honestly, was I could laugh about it now because his reaction was like, oh, yes, you absolutely have PCOS. And for those, if you don't know, you get cysts all over your ovaries, but that causes your ovaries to swell. So then they're just like huge, like if your ovaries normally are a golf ball, mine were a tennis ball. That's probably the best comparison to give it. So going through that, and then, at that age, I didn't think I wanted kids. So it kind of wasn't like it was a big deal because of the other things that came along with it. It's really hard for me to keep weight off. I've been struggling with my weight since I was 19. It's just really hard for me to keep weight off. Carbs are they're just like the bane of my existence, but I love them. I love them so very much. Um, let's add on top of that this complete hate of my skin tone, like absolute, utter, grew up, I'm 41. So when I was in school, it was you had to be light skinned with long hair or you had to be white. Those were the choices. You weren't pretty unless you were light skinned with long hair or white. And so I even had a guy that I like used the term loosely in middle school was my boyfriend. And I asked him, I'm like, why, why did you cheat? Or he's like, well, he said, if I knew then what I know now, it would have been better. But I was a kid, and at the time, that's what it was. Like, you were just too dark. And I'm just like, so didn't like skin, hated my gap, nappy hair. It was just a bevy of reasons. Then bullied. I had somebody that took my lunch from school. Then let's add in being raped at a young age, losing my virginity it just trauma, 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 trauma. Even when I met my now husband, I told him, like, if we stay together, I can't have kids naturally. I can carry, but I can't have kids. We'd have to do in vitro. Artificial insemination wouldn't work. And I said, if I get pregnant, you're muted. So then I get pregnant. And I'm like, oh my gosh, only to have him show up, and I'm only 5 months. And to hold him until he took his last breath because the hospital wouldn't put him in NICU. They're like, well, he's too young, but he's alive. Like, I don't understand. It'd be one thing if I miscarried or he was stillborn. He wasn't. He was literally, he even smiled at Chris. He couldn't see, but and I'm like, so you go through all of that, and it's just like, so then I have Jaheem, I get pregnant with Jaheem maybe 8 weeks later, I'm pregnant. When did I grieve? When did I have time to fully grieve? So then I have Jaheem, and now I have postpartum depression. And so it's just a cycle of trauma. And so when this lasts maybe year or so, I've been like in this healing process. It started with healing my yoni. Natural products changed my life. I will plug juices here in Augusta probably for the rest of my days because her wash was the first thing I bought, and it washed all my sins away. All of them. All sins were washed away. She felt brand new. You toss her into the air and she would turn into diamonds. Like, like, I was like, and I was in love with that part of me again. It was just the most amazing feeling to be in love with that. And that's kind of, I feel like, I tell her all the time, I feel like that's where it started. Because the moment I connected back to loving being a woman, it's all of a sudden I connected back to self again. Then the things that I used to say, okay, I can deal with this. I'm okay with this. I can deal with this. This cup that I'm holding, all those feelings that I'm not sharing, the seal starts to crack. It starts to overflow. And it probably started to overflow years ago. And I just kind of like patched it back up. But it started to overflow. And now I'm like, okay, I need help. So then I started therapy, which has been that extra layer of healing. But then I found pussy prayers, and it was just like this aha moment started to happen. And I'm like, yo, it's okay for me to feel this way. And it's okay for me to love my body. And it's okay for me to want to be a woman. And there's power in my womanhood. And so that's what I want for other women. I want that moment where you just like step into your power. And it's not that I don't have sad days. I promise you, I was on the verge of tears in the car, and I have been crying almost every day this week. Almost absolutely every day this week. And because it's just so much. But being able to say, I'm in this pain, but I don't live there. I can have this pain. I need to let it out. I can't keep it bottled up, but I don't live in that pain. I'm going to move to a space of healing. So that's kind of just like a little background on why I'm passionate about this and why I want to do this. Okay, so that's enough about me. That was a lot. I'm sorry it was so heavy. I'm sorry. It was totally a lot. So whoever wants to go first to introduce yourself and a little bit about you. She looking, I just want to say, I just realized how nervous in the middle she looked about. Tell us a little about yourself. That was just, it's an extra fitting picture, but like she does look a little shook, like, oh yeah, you gotta talk about me now, God. Okay, so who gets to go first? I'm not gonna take money. I'll go first. Here comes Delani. Hold on, y'all. Let me escort my son, and then y'all decide who's gonna go first. Delani, Bonnie. Go. Go. You're fine. You know what we both love it. It's so funny. I need my arms to look like that. You didn't have to run. You did not have to run. Okay, so you unmuted first. You totally unmuted first, so you get to go first, and it can be super short. Just like what's your name, where you're from, and what made you join, and what do you hope to get? And I need. Um, what do you hope to gain from our goddess gathering? I'm not going to call it a sister circle because I want us to feel extra powerful. So it's going to be our goddess gathering. So what do you hope to gain from our goddess gathering? Facts. Yay. Cool beans. All right, Adrian, it's your turn. Oh. Oh, thanks, Adrian, for the mush. So much mush. I love it. So, okay, so let's set some goals. I had some initial ones, but I want to, get your feedback, have us set some goals on, because I want this to be a communal, collective experience and something that you look forward to. Like I was in a system, I'm in one now that we meet on Wednesdays, and I have to say that Wednesday afternoon gathering with my mentor and her partner are always just like the highlight of that day for me. Like it's right after I get off work. Like I purposely get Saturday afternoon. I'll be looking at the clock. Like, what time is it? Oh yeah, I can't take no meeting after 3 because I got to join my sister circle. And even if it's like it's just really really extra meaningful. But the one I was in for Sacred Woman, I mean, we met every 2 weeks, and I swear it was just like the best. And it made me really accountable because, like, when we were meeting at like 9 o'clock, and but we talked so much, it would like go all the way until like 11. And that's what I wanted to get to. Like, I wanted to get to that point where we're just talking and vibing, and we're having the best, like, just real great conversation. We talked about the book, but then we talked about life and crying together and all this good stuff. And it was a beautiful thing. So when we all said we really need to get this getting up in the morning thing together, we changed our meeting time to be in the morning. And so that made me say, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm gonna get my water, and yeah, this will be my morning ritual. At least every 2 weeks, I know I'm getting up early in the morning. If I don't get up any other time, I know I'm getting up early. So that's what I I want to bring some of that to us. Um, I said I want to do meetings once a month, and I'll tell you why it's only right now. I just gotta make sure I got a good balance with those. Once I got a routine and a flow, then we could meet like twice a month or something like that. But right now, I just don't want to commit to that much and then not be able to manage it because that's what happened to the other group. The girl who was leading it, she just felt like she couldn't go do it like that. So are y'all cool with that? Is that okay? I saw you nodding, Adrian. Okay, cool beans. Um, I'm still even in between there though. I'm going to do posts. So Adrian, make sure you have my Patreon bookmark. You do not have to be a member to see any Goddess Gathering posts. So if I give y'all like journal topics or anything I'm reading related to our gathering, you will always be able to see those posts because they're going to be public. And y'all are welcome to share with others that may inspire them to want to join us. But I will make sure that those posts are public. Um, do y'all know what y'all want to learn? Have any of y'all looked at either book before to even have an idea what you want to learn? Okay, you do know. What about you, Adrian? No? Okay, so hold on. Let me say, I'm gonna run through like the short and sweet. So, like Sacred Woman definitely focuses on a lot of traditional African spirituality. So, specifically for her Kemetic, so from Egypt. So you will see in her book, she has a lot of references to the Kemetic deities and things like that, and equates them to the aspects of life. So for her, she's broken it down, the healing into gateways. So like gateway 0 is kind of like the foundation, kind of getting your body clock together, things like that. There's a lot of things with altar work in there, and just early rising. She's got a gateway for sacred speech, so making sure you're speaking from a place of healing and divinity, making sure that you're moving your body. So she's got like this whole sacred movement line. So if either of you do yoga, like literally the sacred movements is like Kemetic yoga. I'm still trying to figure out this one position because you have to lay back and it's like your shoulder blades on the floor, but the rest of you's in the air. I'm still trying to figure out how to get my body to do that. I figured out like I need somebody to like pull my legs up for me and then leave me there for a little while and then come help me get down. Like that's just I can't see how I'm gonna get that done by my. I've been trying that, child. Well, I thought I was gonna die because like these went into my throat and I'm just like, oh no, wait, ain't nobody here but me and the kids. I'm gonna suffocate. This is not good. This is not okay. I'm just like pineapple. Somebody help me. So, but yeah, you got movement, dress, your womb, communication, and there's 9 different gateways. Start after gateway 0. Pussy prayers also layers in some African spirituality in there, but it's really just more general. There's stuff about moon rituals and things like that, how to take spiritual baths is in the books. So lots of stuff to learn, and it just kind of depends on how you do it. So like for what's interesting is I have always had a curiosity and love of Egyptian culture, but I still feel like when I do Sacred Woman, that's not where I line it to. Like, like it's so odd. I ended up because it was so much. Like I totally rewrote like some of the prayers in a way that made it flow better for me. So if you want to learn, if we get to the point where it's like, okay, we're starting about setting up an altar. If that's something you have questions about, we can make sure we talk about that together. When we did the group I was in before, that was like a big like conversation, like, oh my God, like there's just so much you have to get. And like I do have an altar, like I don't know, hold on. Can y'all see behind me? Can you see back there? So like there we go. So they'll I have one altar, and I guess you could say this one is my one for the Orishas. And then that one is for me. So it's got like all my little chakra candles on there. And then I have ancestor altars over in the corner. So I have one for my paternal and one for my maternal ancestors. And then my son is up here beside me. So they all have their own space. Because apparently I had a reading done and my ancestors felt like they were too jumbled together. So I had to split them up. Um, I was like, okay, all right, I'll figure that out. Let's split y'all up. Give y'all your own spatio. But I didn't start out with this. It's kind of just accumulated over time. When I first decided I was going to go ahead and see how I felt about an altar, I had a broken tabletop that I put on top of an end table that was also broken, a white tablecloth, um, a white candle. I had some sage and a glass of water. That's it. That's all I had. And I didn't know what the heck to say. So I would just sit there in front of it and either ramble or meditate. So, and actually, honestly, now that's generally speaking what my altar work looks like. And always feels like this is the right thing. When I say some of the prayers that somebody else wrote, if I say them exactly like they wrote them, they feel okay. But if I just sit and talk, then it feels more natural and it feels true and it feels like I'm coming out myself. We'll definitely talk about shadow work because that's something I'm doing now. If you've never heard of shadow work, it is basically a lot of work on self and that part of yourself that you don't really show to other people. So, um, if you, I'm trying to think of a good example. Okay, this is probably a good example. So, um, I have an Aries moon, which means I have a really fiery emotions. But if you were to someone, especially younger, D doesn't get mad. D's never upset. That's not true. Generally speaking, I do get mad and I do get upset. I just don't show it. I keep it here to like somewhere in the pit of my belly, giving me heartburn, causing me high blood pressure. I don't show it. Um, let's see. I have, I can't remember which planet, which sign is in, but the planet is um, Pluto. And Pluto is all about that darkness in you, and especially with the sexuality. So things like you might be into like fetishes and stuff like that. So I might not tell everybody that I think that underarms are really soft when they're newly shaved. That's just, but why do I like that? I know that's like a really bad example, but there's a why behind why I wouldn't share that. There's a why behind why I wouldn't talk about it. Um, Dealing with childhood trauma and bringing that to the surface. There'll be some things that you don't even realize that are an issue, and then you start to talk about it out loud, and it's just like, oh, that's ugly. Yeah. So, and that's a lot of the journaling. When you look at some of the prompts, it's really just shadow work. It's sitting with yourself. One of the first questions in the part of the book that we'll read first is what who taught you what womanhood means and what did they teach you? How did you learn what the definition of a woman is? So, you know what? Now I'm curious because we have time. So, who taught you to be a woman? If you had to really like dig deep and like who sat you down and said, you are a woman and this is what this means? Or do you think that even ever happened? Because I remember being female and what that means, but not being a woman and not what femininity means. See, exactly. Yes. Yeah. And so then it's like, okay, well, and how do I know that I'm a woman? What does that mean to me? Now I have to like, it's almost like relearning what it means to be a woman, something that we're born as. Um, one of the exercises in the book is to write down. She doesn't call it this, but I did. I called it this when I started it. Write down your hit list and looking at who's on there and what that experience truly meant. So, like, I won't get into the minutia of my virginity loss. I will just say I was severely young and they were an adult and I was not. And even in that moment, I still had not attached the appropriate word to it. When I had therapy recently, she's like, "So you were molested?" And there was that moment. And then I thought about it. I said, "Oh, dear Lord, that's exactly what that was." Oh my God. And then I started to think about every boyfriend I had before I was 17 and how much older they were. And then I was like, okay. And like for me, a lot of the early interactions were defense mechanisms. I was raped really young. So my defense mechanism was if I say no, this is what's going to happen to me. If I say no, they're going to hurt me. So I can't say no. Then the moment I started lifting weights, that shifted somewhat because then I felt like I could physically defend myself. I can physically protect myself. So I don't have to do that anymore. But I was still a yes woman. Will you do this? I don't want to do it. Yes, I'll do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because that was still a defense mechanism that I had not broken out of. So I wrote my list and yeah, we'll talk about it. I'll even share my number when it comes time. But that was interesting. That was absolutely an interesting process to have to sit and look at it, especially when you go back and you're like, oh, what about oh what about and like random like once you start like it's not even the same day. Like there was something I thought about the other day that I realized is not on this piece of paper, and I'm just like, okay, all righty then. And what does that look like? And how do I heal that? Because when I look at that list, I'm like, there's not a lot of love there. That was the thing that jumped out at me when I looked at it. I said, of the people on that list, three, I can say there was a foundation of friendship that evolved into love that led to that act. That's it. That's it. Not anyone else. And so um, it just it's a lot. And so to be able to really just sit with that, that's you have to sit with that and do it in stages because then you have to nurture yourself afterwards. You can't just do all that work and then nothing. Like you gotta like, take you a bath. If you drink wine, drink you some wine. Like you gotta do some love on yourself after doing some of this work. So, and that's hopefully what we'll do together is love on each other and say, hey, it's okay. We can do this. Um, okay, cool. So I really love this picture. I just want to say, like, every time I see her, she gives me life, 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 life. So I did, and I make sure that when I post this, I'm uploading the deck so you'll have the readings. So um, I went through Sacred Woman and Pussy Prayers and Please and basically found everything that felt like just the beginning, like not getting into the nitty gritty, but just like beginning. So, and I put them in order. So, like, read it in that order, and hopefully, um, it'll make sense that way. And again, Sacred Woman is really textbooky. Like, so that's why, like, on page 59, I really do only want you to read the poem. You can read everything else, but for us, for our purposes, just the poem. Um, and the womb affirmations on 62 and 63. Um, and then there's some journal prompts in all three books. So I'm going to pick a few of them and post. And then I'll probably do a journal entry as one of the posts of my own. And then that way we can converse on that as well. Um, oh, this is not on here, but it came to me. So, and this is going to probably sound super cheesy, and I don't care because I feel like it'll be great because I'm totally into like positive affirmations right now. I want us to come up with our own goddess gathering mantras, one to open our circle and one to close out with. So that's just something to be thinking about. What do we want our mantra to be? The affirmations in the poem may give you some ideas. The playlist that I'm going to send to y'all may give you some ideas. So start thinking up. You got plenty of time to think of them, and I'll make a post that says, so that way we can start a thread of the ideas that we can do collectively. And okay, so what questions or comments do you have? Are you excited? Are you not excited? How do you feel? I'm It's so it's apparently like a message board, a chat room. So I thought about using the Discord for this, but I got to figure out how to get non Patreon members on that server. If I can figure that out, then I may do some chats on the Discord, but I will be for starting next month, starting like threads on the Discord for Patreon members to chat on. So I don't know. I have been thinking about a private Facebook group, and then you have to be a Patreon to get access to it, a patron to get access. I have totally been thinking about that. The Discord let me create, so the threads can be broken up based on which topic you're a patron of. So, like, you would have access to both because that's the kind of patron you are. And oddly enough, I'm really surprised. Like, I don't have many career-driven patrons, so everybody is spiritual. I'm like, okay, all right, that's interesting. So I'm still waffling on that. I'm gonna leave it there for now, but I am thinking about doing a Facebook group, even if it's just for the goddess gathering. I am thinking about doing a Facebook group and putting stuff there. So I will let y'all know. I'm still kind of mulling it over. I'm still trying to figure out like balancing all the social media stuff. I'm like, because even like this, I was like, okay, I want to record this because I know you can record in Zoom. And then I was like, oh, so you have to pay to record on Google Meet? Lame. So lame. So no one can see y'all, but I'm live streaming on YouTube to get it to record. So that way we can at least get what we talked about and all that good stuff. I really do want to do a full moon release. Not this full moon, it's way too soon. But even though I'm thinking about that being one of my first September posts is y'all watching me do a full moon ritual. We'll see. But I really do want to do a full moon release. Like everybody, and like that might be one of the one times I might say, okay, everybody wear white. Like I really want this to feel like a full on, like we're all doing it together. Like everybody wear white and make sure you have something to burn some stuff in, and we can talk about what we're releasing, and everybody's dropping in the fire at the same time. And yeah, I really just like I in my head, I'm like, that's gonna be so awesome. Everybody's got their camera pointing at the flame at the same. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like that would be great. I did my first full moon release. This will be my fourth one, I think. And the first time I did it, I was like the satisfaction of seeing, like the first one I did was around my rape. And In therapy, I realized I was still blaming myself for it. I blamed myself, and I had to let that go. That it wasn't my fault. It's not my fault. He's a creepy rapist. That's just not my fault. And he popped up in my Facebook, people you may know. Negative, block. Like, I just don't even want you to pop up like ever again by accident. Like, negative. Um, but that was what I released. I wrote a letter to myself telling myself that you're not, I release the idea that you're guilty of this. This is not your fault. I release my attachment to this person, any soul ties, karmic ties, anything related to this instance and this person. And actually, I did it at my mom's house, which is fitting because that's where it happened. So I was sitting in the driveway at night and with my cast iron pan and my white candle and set that paper on fire. I was like, ooh, that felt good. What else can I burn? Like, I'm like, yo, this was awesome. Oh my God. So yeah, I feel like even if nothing else, just from a general perspective of feeling like you can let it go, just feeling like you can let that go. So doing something like that, I feel like is great. I definitely want to do something manifesting with the new moon. I feel like that's also going to be good. I like totally feel like that's a good idea. And how to and understanding how our menstrual cycle and the moon play with each other and what that means because I learned that's something I learned very recently because my cycle kept moving and moving and moving. And then one day I was like, the new moon and my cycle, same day. And I was like, uh and I think it's the Aquarius in me. I see synchronicity easily. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, let me dig into this. And so I learned that, you can either have a red cycle or a white cycle. And the reason why um, a white cycle is our more natural cycle, it's more in line with how nature intended us to be. Before there were street lights and electricity and all that good stuff, the light we had was the sun and the moon. So we were in line with nature. You harvest, you pull everything up in the what you call it, a full moon, and you're planting your seeds with the new moon. And so if you are having your cycle during the oh, hold on. Let me see if I can add you. I will. Hold on. Adrian's phone died. Let me tell her I will shoot her. I got you. I got you. So when the you think about it, the first day of your period is technically the first day of your cycle. So if it's new, it's newness. So it should be with the new moon. Like from a logic perspective, that makes sense. So when I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Now, what's interesting is this last month, my cycles went really wonky. But apparently, I'm not the only woman. Like several women in some of the groups I'm in have said, has anybody else's period been weird? And I'm like, yes. Like I feel like mine's like a whole week early. Like I went from having like I'm now kind of in the middle. So we're gonna see because the full moon is next week. If I have a cycle next week, I'll feel like it moved back to full moon. But I've also been in the house a lot more. So I was like, okay, if it goes back to full moon, that means I need to go back outside some more and see if I can get it back to the regular cycle. But things like little things like that. In the book, it's got like a little almost in Sacred Woman has a checklist to see what basically grades your womb health. And it goes through all these various areas and then gives you a number. But then you can do it over and over again to see if and how you're healing as you go forward. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Sacred Woman does do a lot of things with vegan and vegetarian. I'm not there yet. I'm working. I'm working on me. I have stopped eating red meat almost completely, and that wasn't planned. That just happened. Yeah, like Mother's Day, I had a steak. And I like steak. So typically it's one of those things I have to have it once a week. Is a steak. I need a steak for dinner once a week. And then the first week happened. At week 2 is when I noticed it, and I was like, I ain't had no red meat in a while. Okay, well let's see how this goes. And so it's been. I will have a smidgen here and there, but it's not even. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, so I don't really eat red meat like that. Oh, okay. Like maybe once a month I might get a burger. Yeah, and that's mostly convenience of getting something for dinner. But I'm like, a bird. Okay, so that's it. That's it. But I had the urge to make a steak for myself. No, I also can't eat fast food like that anymore. It makes me sick to my stomach. And I will say, I feel like I manifested that. In my journal, I wrote that I wanted to have a healthier relationship with food and not have such an attachment to food that doesn't feel good to me. And I had been saying it at my altar too. And then all of a sudden, McDonald's fries give me a stomach ache. What? No more French fries? I know. Now, fries I cooked in the house didn't bother me, but I also don't cook them in grease. But if I go out to eat and eat French fries, I can't. I can't eat anybody else's chicken. I'm like, no, I can. Well, let me correct. If it's a family dining establishment, I can eat their chicken. But if it's genuine fast food like Popeyes, I can't eat it. It gives me a stomach ache. And I'm just okay. This is a good thing, but this is like really weirding me out. It's like really, really. So like today I have a taste for fish, so I'll probably grab some fish from someplace. But I got chicken and some stuff I'm gonna cook for dinner, unless I get invited over to my mom's house for dinner. She's been up there watching the boys, so. But I'm like, my whole diet shifted, and I'm like I haven't eaten cooked vegetables. I tried asparagus because I'm trying to make myself like it. I don't like it. I don't. I don't. I do not like it. I do not. I don't know if I'm just not good at it. I've tried cooking it in the oven. I've tried sauteing it in a pan. Like it's after I've made something in the pan, saute it in there. But I've been eating raw spinach for like my vegetable portion of my meal has just been like raw spinach, and I haven't actually cooked a vegetable for myself in months. I've just been eating them raw, and I'm like, when did this cut? Like I was just sitting like, wait, what just happened? Wait. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be all right. It's okay, I suppose. So we'll talk about food and holding each other accountable, drinking our water. Y'all, please keep me accountable on the water. Like, please, like, you know, hit us. Did you drink water today? How much water have you had to drink today? I need that. I need that. I need account. I need to order one. That's what I need. Yeah, because I feel like everyone who's doing a good job has one of those big things. Like I get like, I've got spring water in a big thing, but something that tells me like, the little positive words, like you can do it, you're almost there, and all that good stuff. Get it in. Awesome. What other question you had for me, Yudi? Okay, cool. So if you don't have the books, I will send you a way to read what I already put out there. At least I don't have Please, but I will have the other two, and then we'll talk about the readings all together. Nope, that's cool. I promise you. Once I send you, you'll be like, oh, and you'll be good. And when that comes, you'll be fine. Awesome sauce. Well, if you are good, I will let y'all, have the rest. I just really appreciate you joining. It just really makes my heart smile, and I'm so excited. And it's so funny. So I think there's like 6 people on the invite. So my hope is that next time, I think I'm gonna put a poll up for a day at a time and for everyone to vote, and that way I can try to get this aligned where everybody's available. Okay, cool beans. Yay! So consider yourself hugged, and I am going to let me see if I can make this thing stop sharing. Yay! Oh snap! I did it! Yay! Turn up. All right, I might have to do a thing. Well, have a good day. Hug the baby. Hug the hubs, and have a great weekend. Bye. Love you too. All right, I'm gonna post this. I will have the notes. I'll have the deck. I'll have links, and we'll be good to go.